Welcome everyone to Zug and online on Live Siemens I/O. Pretty cool to have you all here at the Open Source event in Zug. Looking forward for 2 amazing days here talking about open source and culture. Yeah, collaboration culture, that's the thing at the end, and that's also a little bit why we are here at such a very special venue. You might not be not kind of the normal Siemens standard office conference location, but here it's all about culture, and that's why we're also here at the Galvanic in Zug. Pretty nice to be here the 5th time. Somehow we are here nowadays, and yeah, great to have you all here in Zug. And we've sent all the clouds away, so beautiful weather, so looking forward to being together there at the evening. Maybe one of the most critical resources we have today is the so-called internet. Because, yeah, please don't do the heavy Podman pull, Docker pull, all those things, and all the crazy shebang. We're struggling from time to time a little bit with the bandwidth here, with the Galvanic network, and we're using, of course, also our 4G router modems and stuff. So please, yeah, it's a live event, so you can code at home or at the office again. So enjoy talking with the people and so on. That would be cool. For the remote folks, yeah, you can just place your questions there. We have our moderators are gathering the questions and passing them then to the speakers. You can also change your name there on the top right corner. Just edit and use your favorite name. There you can choose, different than the one that has been given to you. Of course, all the presentation slides and so on will be later provided on Open Source Siemens.com. Also on YouTube channel then later on the recordings, as we did every year. Of course, it's not kind of a catering event crew and so on. So all Siemens employees are managing the event end to end, are managing the bar, are doing the barbecue, etc., etc. So please, yeah, be nice with the people, tidy up stuff a little bit, and we don't have kind of the mama taking care of all the empty bottles lying around and stuff like this. So just keep it tidy, like as you do at the family event. If you have questions, if you want to talk, please, dear audience here on site, raise your hand. So we have people then coming to your place with the microphone, so that the remote audience is able to listen to your questions as well. And also regarding food, we have some special food, kind of vegan, vegetarian, and so on. Take it if you registered for that only, please. Otherwise, yeah. That's why we have the fancy questions there on the registration form. And yeah, looking forward for the fancy 2 days together with all of you, and a lot of discussions around the topic. Yeah, first of all, of course, thanks to Galvanic, our location here. We are so happy that they're welcoming us again, like every year, and we are enjoying the location here a lot. Of course, we have the fancy open broadcast software. You see here our streaming colleagues are using. We're running open source software all over, also on our platform, for example. We just have one piece of closed source software there. That's a security agent, and all the rest is all pure open source software. So that's pretty nice, and yeah, looking forward to the amazing talks during the next 2 days. Yeah, some latest news. Of course, what's the coolest thing happened regarding open source? It was the last year event. Yeah, it was a little bit a special event, and for the co-crew, it's kind of the highlight of the year, of course. Gathering, having all the people joining at one place, having the 2 days talking with each other, having fun, drinking a beer at the evening, and so on. That's just amazing. We had the fancy concert last year from our teammate Ercan and his band, the Birthday Girls, and this was very well received last year, and we're gonna try to make a concert happen next year again. Yeah, that's one on our to-do dream list. Always keep dreaming on the things. As we embrace open source, we also thought about, hey, it's of course we do a lot of contributions to all different kind of projects within our team, and a lot of you do as well. So very, very appreciated. But there are also the cool options like sponsoring. We know nowadays on platform like the GitHub, for example. There we applied for the GitHub sponsoring, and finally last year I was talking about this, and now we made it happen. You can imagine to do that in a proper, compliant way. Maybe the effort where Florian, Mario, and Alex and the other compliance folks went through was maybe higher regarding costs than what we were able to sponsor, but now we have the process in place, so we are doing that like all the stuff we do as code. So you can see here the little YAML file. So we're defining why we are sponsoring that particular project, etc., and then to execute also the chargings and all those things via our APIs we were developing. You can see it there on our repo, Siemens folks. There we have our CodeOps open source repo. That's the repository that we are using also to manage our github.com/Siemens account for the open source project we have there. And next sponsoring batch is in place. So if you see within your department and so on, hey, we want to give something back, you're welcome to join us there, and we're going to feed the money back to the communities and the maintainers to do their work there. Another cool thing is Margo. That's one of the latest Linux Foundation projects. There was the project OX. I was not aware of this, to be honest. But now this is a Linux Foundation project, Margo, for interoperable edge devices. So it's the Latin word for edge. Yeah, maybe some people did the Latin at school already. I was not aware of this term Margo. So that's pretty nice. So we're also driving the communities and funding organizations. And this is maybe something, a little drawing, some colleagues, teammates were complaining, but I thought, hey, we have engineers here, so that's why I'm using that drawing here as well. Interestingly, they're focusing on those connectivity layers and APIs between the different components of a typical edge architecture, and we are happy to have there the support. By the way, we also have here, of course, the folks. We have the Christian Storm and Urs Gleim here. If you have questions, maybe there we have the Christian and there we have the Urs. If you have questions about Margo, those are the two experts driving the topic here for us together with the community. Pretty nice to have then in the long run interoperable edge devices and frameworks. One thing I've learned recently, I don't know, I hope Ralph, I've not seen you. Hey, cool man, thanks. He was writing me an email, hey, by the way, we at SBB did this and that and requested Siemens to make the API open source, the Polarion API in that case, and this happened. We have it now here released under the Apache 2 license. Behind the scenes, we also got requests then from that crew maintaining the Polarion, and we were guiding them on what would be a suitable license, etc., etc. And Then Ralph sent me that little picture. So on the Polarion website, we have now the PDF exporter, and they're preparing now to open source the repositories. You see them here. It's on the Schweizer Bundesbahnen. On GitHub, you're going to see then the PDF exporter for Siemens, the extension. And there's a lot of more stuff there on the list. Ralph wrote me together also different kind of rail customers of Siemens are using Polarion heavily, and they're together working on a roadmap on publishing more of their components. Yeah, the Code Siemens.com, our fancy platform. We are working day by day and trying to do our best to make our developers across the world happy. Really cool. We have here Gerardo being nominated as a MVP. So we have now about 11 MVPs also within the code crew. We're continuously contributing. We will see tomorrow presentation about the protected packages from Gerardo. That's a bigger topic we're contributing. Often we do kind of here a bug fix and there, etc. And of course, usually one bigger topic where we are implementing missing features that we want to have on our coding platform. So looking forward to have the protected packages and container registry soon. Some parts are already there, yeah. And day by day, we do contribute to different kind of components. Could be kind of VLLM framework where we do the AI topic. We gonna hear later a little bit about this from Ercan and Fabio. The Python GitLab we are maintaining. There's so many different kind of components. So the team is continuously contributing upstream, fixing bugs here and there, or contributing little features to give back the stuff and be a nice citizen. IPv6, we know all the IPv6 is a big topic. At least on the code platform, we have the IPv6 on the shared runner infrastructure already enabled. So you can test IPv6. It's not fully deployed, the IPv6 on the corporate network, I'm sorry. One of the next thing that we are aiming for is to have at least the internet-facing endpoints of Code Siemens.com supporting IPv6. That's one of the topics we have on our roadmap. And yeah, in the meantime, we went from the Siemens entitlement to the ping ID, and now we are with and then to the Azure ID, which became the Entra ID because they like changing names. We had the SAML, now we are with the OIDC, still fiddling a little bit around on standard compliance, so we are kind of standard nerds, so it would be cool to have kind of full OIDC compliant, etc. That's why we have the OIDC compliance test suites, and that's why we want to have just the interoperable things. Business partner, we had a boring, not so nice process in the past. A lot of forms, long onboarding process. Nowadays, you're able to onboard business partners on Code Siemens.com more or less within minutes. It depends a little bit how long your in-country or in-country manager, line manager, I don't remember exactly, how long it takes until he is approving the requests. That's basically the time limiting factor now to onboard the folks. Registry version 2, big thank you, Mr. Huser, Fabio, did a lot of stuff there. We were investigating a lot, testing, etc. And yeah, one little thing we figured out, the dangling manifests were not imported, so we are still importing all those dangling manifests. We figured out that some were missing, and we are now on registry version 2, but it will still take a few weeks till we are there, and then we might have to contribute a few things upstream as well, so that we can then enable the garbage collection, all those features. Yeah, so next topics. One interesting initiative while we were starting with the LLM topic is from Thai, from ContinueDev, started this amplified.dev. So amplified developers do not automate them, etc. So it's kind of how can we empower the developers, providing more better tools within the developer environment, for example, providing context about the project in combination with LLMs and so on. So there we're committed to, and we were signing the amplified dev statements as well, most of our team members, and of course we're gonna improve our credential scanning. So this was a little bit still ongoing journey on getting the GitHub sponsoring was much easier than getting the credential scanning for the Code Siemens Com tokens up and running together with the GitHub folks. I guess maybe it's kind of the intake, outtake, money thing, maybe a relation with this, I don't know. So there we are still working on, but we are now having the process in place, and they have to fine tune a little bit on the regex. You might know we've contributed the feature to define a prefix for the personal access tokens on GitLab, and that's of course what we are using now. And then the GitHub folks are going to sending us the secrets to our endpoint so that we can auto-revoke if people by accident committed some Code Siemens Com tokens on GitHub. That of course stuff like this happens from time to time. A while ago, it was about 2 or 3 years ago, we talked with our communication folks. Hey, we have in the past it was kind of Ingenuity Siemens Com, but then we figured out that it is a block, so they renamed it to Block Siemens Com. And there we created then the developer space, and that's pretty cool. We've a lot of folks here also within the room. We're already writing and contributing there some developer articles, and we're doing kind of every 2 months or so we're gonna publish articles there. Of course, everyone, please, if you have interesting topics also to talk about and want to publish, that's the place to publish those things. And for the Siemens folks, the dates are fixed. We will have, holy moly, the 22nd already. Wow, huh? We have the 22nd Linux community event, so in Nuremberg area. Of course, also with the live stream, so you get it on linux.siemens.com as far as I remember. And we have the Inner Source Summit the day after, then the 4th edition on innersource.siemens.com. You see some details and insights. Yeah. And that's it, more or less, from my side. Of course, it would be cool if you could provide some feedbacks. We have those QR codes also there at the bar and on the flyers. It would be cool to provide feedback, what you miss, what can be improved next year, and so on. And yeah, other than that, thank you for joining us, and have fun, guys.